My name is First Class Johnson. In the next few minutes, I'm going to discuss a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. Growing up, I grew up in a broken home. My father left my family when I was about 2 years old. Left me, my mom, my sisters, my two sisters, and my two brothers. Growing up, I was fortunate enough to have a strong mom and a strong parent that kind of filled both roles for me. My mom was a provider, she was a counselor, she was pretty much everything. Anything that I ever needed as a kid, toys, clothes, confidence, character, values, everything, my mom did an excellent, outstanding job. One thing that she could not provide for me, and I think it kind of bothers her, was my dad. My dad was not there. And I remember as a kid, I was in the Cub Scouts. One year, I went to a camping trip. It was father-son camping trip. Of course, I didn't have a father, so my mom went. And initially, it was a great thing. My mom helped out. We did the camping, we did the hunting, we did the s'mores. Everything was fine, but it was a point where I looked around and noticed the other kids had their dads. And my dad was not there. I kind of felt some kind of way, and I think that was the first instance in my childhood where I realized that my father wasn't there, and it bothered me. When I was in high school, a buddy of mine, we had a discussion with girls and sex, and he was telling me about the stories that his dad told him, the advice that his dad gave him. And again, that was the second time that I kind of felt like I didn't have a dad. You know, my mom, she talked to me about the birds and the bees, but she really couldn't give me that insight, being that she was a female and not a male. Fathers play a very vital and important role in their children's lives. Research has shown that fathers who are active or play an active role in their children's lives have a huge influence on that child's intellect abilities and emotional well-being. Children need strong role models, and proven that children will imitate and emulate the direct behavior that they witness on a constant basis. So if you're a father to this child, you're providing a positive, strong role model to that child most likely will emulate that behavior and mimic what they see. Children also need to feel loved by their father. I know some people feel that showing love, kissing and hugging is a bad thing. I myself, I have two children. I have a son that's 6. I kiss my son, I hug him, I tell him how much I love him, and I spend quality time as well as quantity time. Self-esteem is another thing that fathers can instill, especially with little girls. For a little girl, her father will be the first man, the first person that she falls in love with. If you set a right example for your daughter to let her know that she's more than an object of beauty, and you instill those values in her, it can boost her self-esteem as well. Having an active role in your child's life can actually boost their intellect. There was a study by Johns Hopkins Hospital that showed that a group of children who didn't have an active father figure in their life versus a group of children who did, the children with a father figure actually score higher on aptitude battery tests. And they also show more rational thinking skills as well. Another strong point the fathers have is emotional support as well as financial support. You know, obviously, when there's two incomes in a household, the financial support, there's a big difference. But emotional support is something that some people forget about or some fathers don't provide. You need to be there for your kids when they're sad, happy, angry, or whatever. That child goes through that emotional roller coaster that most go through. The father being there, listening, being there for them, giving them that experience and advice can have a drastic impact on that child's social life later on in life. In conclusion, fathers play a critical role in the development of their children. It's an absolute must for those fathers to fulfill the responsibilities inherited in that role and associated with that position. Research has indicated and proven that fathers that are involved in raising their children, or involved in raising their children, make a positive and lasting difference in their lives. And in contrast, that same research reveals that the potentially negative outcomes for children who don't have fathers involved are drastically high. So to sum it all up, dads, if you have a child, do whatever you can to be there in that child's life. You will never know how that child really feels with their dad not being there. And as a kid, or even as an adult, sometimes I tell people it didn't bother me that my father wasn't there, or I turned out all right. But in the back of my mind, sometimes I think about it, it bothers me, and it kind of emotionally scarred me.